Welcome to Everyday Economics, the podcast that helps you learn about the economic world happening around you every day. I'm your host, Chris Krug, president of the 501c3 nonprofit Franklin News Foundation. Everyday Economics is a production of America's Talking Network. You can check out all of our podcasts at americastalking.com. To support podcasts such as this one, please make your tax-deductible charitable contribution by clicking the link in the show description. We are recording today's episode on Thursday, August 17th. And joining me as always, Dr. Orphe Divounguy, PhD economist. A lot of interesting, economic headlines in the news over the last, gosh, you could pull it back and say over the last couple of years. But over the last couple of days, I think the one that really is sticking out to me, and this scares me a little bit, is that credit card balances are up 16%. Barron's had a nice story on this. August 8th, they published the story. And when you look at the public total debt, and this is straight from that Barron's article, but this is data according to the Federal Reserve Bank, total credit card balance for Americans, $1.03 trillion. We have a federal government that spends beyond its means, and we have an American public that not necessarily is spending beyond its means, but they're carrying a lot of debt. So what do you make of this? Is this a cause for concern? I mean, obviously the Federal Reserve made note of it. There's a lot of economic data points that they can include in their findings and report. This is one, though, that sticks out.
Absolutely. Everything else seems to be perfectly fine. You look at all other types of debts, balances in that Fed report for Q2, looks great. It's great. Home equity lines of credit essentially flat, but credit card balances jumped. Auto balances increased a little bit. Retail cards, consumer loans increased a little bit. But look, here's why I'm not worried. Credit scores. I mean, the credit scores are pretty high. I mean, historically high. You basically have consumers that can afford it. Most of them at least can. And they're taking out loans, right? In fact, the median credit score for newly originated mortgages increased by 4 points to 769. My days, 769. What a credit score. The credit score on auto loans declined by 5 points. So you may have a little composition there where, the people that are out there buying cars when interest rates are this high, maybe shouldn't be buying cars when interest rates are this high. But, credit score is still very high, just ticked down a little bit, especially since it had gone up in the previous quarter. So, I mean, you're looking at a consumer that is in pretty good shape. And remember, we went into this hiking cycle with the lowest household obligations as a share of income. We're at the lowest level since we've been tracking the number. So I am not worried. Look, you look at transition into serious delinquency at an all-time low. You look at foreclosures at an all-time low. You look at bankruptcies at an all-time low. No, I'm really not worried about this. I just hope that the consumer can kind of moderate his or her spending a little bit.
I would agree with you. I mean, but let me ask you this question. So I agree with you. They should moderate their spending. I mean, I think one of the keys to life, and again, I'm not trying to be Dave Ramsey here. That's not my role. That's Dave Ramsey's role. What's in these Fed notes, but kind of tucked in to the second paragraph from the August 8th report, is this sentence: aggregate limits on credit card accounts increased by $9 billion and now stand at $4.6 trillion. So banks holding cards are extending the amount of rope for their customers. Why does it matter?
First of all, I think debt is not the enemy, right? So debt can be a good thing, if you're investing and spending and creating job, good thing for the economy. But I think it's important to also know that banks are not in the business of losing money, and financial conditions have tightened considerably already. And that extra spending is definitely helping to keep us afloat, as of right now. And again, saying that again, banks are not in the business of losing money. They're extending credit because they have consumers that have the ability to repay. And so I think that's a good thing for the U.S. economy, a consumer that's in that's in good shape still. But it is very interesting that that we really are a nation of spenders, and that we, compared to many other countries, our savings rate may not be very high.
I think it's interesting subject matter. Purchasing power did improve in the period, but people just kind of spent through that new power. It just suggests that maybe we're just not all the way where we need to be just yet. I mean, you tell me.
I think we have a lot more room. Remember, savings are depleting, but are not fully depleted yet. So we still have some room to go. I also think that given how high interest rates are, I would have expected to see a much larger increase in the savings rate. And I think we're still spending quite a bit. And by the way, and I think all of those factors are kind of why the Fed is still worried. I mean, we just saw the retail sales numbers. We're seeing that basically people are still spending quite a bit, and it shifted from goods to services and still going.
Thanks again, Orphe. I appreciate you as always, my friend. Great to talk. Orphe Divounguy, this has been Chris Krug. Subscribe to Everyday Economics at americastalking.com.